The rebellion never learns what happened to Luke Skywalker. He doesn't die over Bespin. He walks out of that city beside the man who took his hand, and the war loses its only Jedi in a single breath. The galaxy's best hope becomes its sharpest weapon, and the woman holding the fleet together has no idea she is about to fight her own brother. It turns on one hand, held out over a bottomless shaft. Cloud City, the reactor pit. Luke has lost the duel, lost the hand, and just heard the sentence that rearranges his life. Then the offer. Join me, we and the Emperor. The galaxy is ours. In the film we know, he looks at that hand and steps back into nothing. He would rather fall. This time, he takes it. What happens next is silence. Leia is already off the platform, already reaching for something she cannot name, when the pull in her chest simply stops. Not a death, an absence. She turns the Falcon back anyway because she is Leia, and there is nothing under Cloud City to find. No broken body, no boy hanging by one arm in the wind. She spends the flight back to the fleet trying to build a report out of facts she does not have. The Alliance lists him missing. Within a month, they list him dead. That is the last simple thing that happens to anyone in this story. Vader does not bring his son to the Emperor. He hides him in the lower decks of the Executor, off every manifest, and he begins to teach. Not gently. Vader needs an ally who can stand in a throne room and survive it, which means every lesson has to make Luke more dangerous. He is building the only weapon in the galaxy capable of killing him, and he knows it, and he does it anyway. Palpatine lets it happen. He has spent a lifetime reading Vader the way other men read a chrono, and a secret this size moves through the Force like a ship through fog. He doesn't intervene. He waits. An apprentice who raises a son is raising a replacement, and the Emperor has always preferred a newer instrument to an older one. The trap was never that Vader hid Luke. The trap is that he was allowed to. And Luke thinks he is running his own operation. He took the hand to get close. He tells himself this is a rescue with the direction reversed, that the good he felt in his father on that gantry is a door he can walk back through. So he learns what he is taught, he gets faster, he gets sharper. On a station whose name he never bothers to learn, he lifts a man off the deck by the throat to make him talk. And it works. And afterward, he stands in the corridor waiting to feel sick about it. Nothing comes. That is the first thing he loses. He doesn't notice for another year. 2 years in, they make their move. Luke walks into the throne room first because Vader planned it that way. The Emperor's attention on the son while the father closes the distance behind him. It works. It actually works. Palpatine dies on the floor of his own chamber, and for about 4 seconds, Luke Skywalker has everything he came for. The Emperor gone. The war effectively finished. His father standing beside him, free of the man who built him. Then Vader gives his first order. It is a good order. Efficient. A sector that has been in open revolt for 6 years gets one chance to stand down. And when it doesn't, Vader does what the Empire has always done. And he does it without pausing, because he is not confused about what he wants. He never was. The chains came off, and nothing underneath them changed. Luke didn't free his father. He promoted him. The Alliance doesn't celebrate. From where they sit, a tyrant was replaced by a tyrant with better reflexes. And the one piece of intelligence that reaches Leia is the piece that takes the ground out from under her. The new Emperor's enforcer is a young human male, strong in the Force, who fights like someone trained by Vader himself. She knows. She has no proof, and she doesn't need any. Han Solo is still in the carbonite. In the story we know, Han comes back because Luke comes for him. The plan is Luke's, the timing is Luke's, and the whole ridiculous operation runs on a Jedi walking through the front door of a palace on Tatooine. Here there is no Jedi. Leia goes anyway with a fraction of the people and none of the leverage, and she gets close enough to put her hand flat against the slab. Jabba's court is not gentle with people who get that close. Han stays on that wall. He is still on it when the war ends, and the man who could have walked in and taken him down is on the other side of that war, giving orders. The last battle is not the one anybody planned. Leia commits what is left of the fleet to a strike on the flagship, because a war you cannot win is still a war you can refuse to lose quietly. Luke is on the bridge when the rebel ships come in. He watches his father give the order to end them. Something in him that has been asleep for 2 years opens one eye because He knows who is flying the lead cruiser. He has known for a while. Vader repeats the order. The duel they avoided on that gantry happens instead on the bridge of a Star Destroyer, years late, with far more between them than a severed hand. Luke wins. Of course he wins. Vader spent 2 years making certain he could. Then it goes quiet, and the officers turn, and they wait, because someone has to give the next order. The offer Luke was made over that reactor shaft arrives at last in full, and there is nobody left to share it with. He is standing precisely where he was told he would stand. He got there by trying to save one man. In the film we have Luke falls, and he is caught. By a sister who doesn't yet know she is his sister, on a ship flown by a man who spent the entire story pretending not to care. Here, nobody falls and nobody is caught, and that turns out to be the worse outcome by a distance. If the offer had sounded a little more like rescue and a little less like surrender, how many of us are certain we would have stepped backward off that gantry? What the alternate path exposes is how strange Luke's real choice is. He has offered his father an end to the war and a galaxy, and he answers by throwing himself down a bottomless shaft. That reads as despair. It isn't. It is refusal, and it comes from understanding something the alternate Luke never works out in time. Some doors cannot be opened from the inside because the door changes you on the way through. Everything that follows depends on it. Luke saves his father in the end by standing in front of the Emperor with his weapon on the floor, and nothing left to bargain with. And that gesture only has force because he never took the deal. You cannot pull a man out of a bargain you have already signed. He lost a hand, a mentor, a friend, and every certainty he had about where he came from. He kept the one thing that turned out to matter. If you'd watch the whole thing again just for that ending, subscribe. There's another film waiting to be rewritten.